Okay, let's see if this works. This is, if you're wondering, the Samsung Galaxy S6 that I think I mentioned in the last broadcast, or I threatened in the last broadcast if I was going to use it. So, I am. um, it'll, it'll be interesting to see if the quality degrades like it did on the last time I tried using an Android device to do this. And it might not work anyway because I am showcasing Apple devices right now. So maybe I should have used the iPhone for this, just to keep the Apple gods appeased. I don't know if this is going to work. I've never actually tried this. So, well, I have installed operating systems on Macintoshes this way, but I've never installed Linux this way. Featured prominently right now is, of course, the iMac G3 600, and that bird clock is trying to chirp over me, but it's not going to work. This thing is limited to CD-ROMs. It's got a CD-ROM drive, slot load drive in it, and nothing else. Which is a minor problem because Linux, at least the version that I'm trying to install, requires a DVD. So what am I going to do about that? Well, you can see the second computer that I've got set up here. I have the Power Macintosh G4 set up. And at least theoretically how this is going to work is I'm going to put the iMac into target disk mode and install Linux over FireWire. And I don't know if that's actually going to work. It's going to be very interesting to see if that's going to work. Because I've never actually tried it. Well, the first thing that I probably need is to figure out where I put the DVD. And I found it. It just blended in with the top cover. So, there we go. Second thing that we're going to do. Let's power this up, see if it even still works at all. Hold down the T on the keyboard. Because at least theoretically that was how you're supposed to do this. And, yep, there we go. It's in target disk mode. Just like it's supposed to be. I've removed or unplugged the hard drives out of that, so it will not boot to hard drives when I turn it on here. Worth noting is the fact that apparently the inverse IEC power connection for the monitor on this machine is always on. Not like the AT systems where it's off until you turn the system on. What is it booting from? I don't know what it's booting from. I pulled out the hard drives. That's spooky. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to turn that off and make sure I unplug the right cable. I am 100% certain that I pulled the cable for the hard drives. Is there a DVD in the drive? There's no DVD in the drive. So what is it booting from? I don't hear disk activity. Oops, it's getting caught. I don't hear any disk activity. What? Okay, Halloween was a month ago, alright? So why is this happening now? Why didn't this happen a month ago? Did I pull out the right cable? No, there is no disk access. So I'm... Well, that made some very nice noises. Oh, I know what happened. Something is catching on the fan. Let's see what it is. I don't actually know. Yeah, something is catching on one of the fans now, so I'm gonna have to... I don't know what it's booting from. I'm gonna have to get by here. Speaking of fans, this fan is in the way. So why can't I open this? I might have just broken something. What is catching on a fan? Oh! There's a fan on the... Yeah, I have unplugged the hard drives. I just checked that now. So there's no hard drive on this machine plugged in. I'm going to put that out of the way so that way it's hopefully not going to catch on that fan again. There. So, alright. I'm going to just assume, as I'm bumping the camera and everything all over the place, breaking everything. Oh, I'm ruining the entire thing. Anyway, don't know. That's kind of spooky. So, okay. I'm just going to put the disc in. And hold down C, reboot the system. I really don't know where that came from. So let's see. Should be trying to boot to the CD now. There it goes. Alright. It'll be interesting to see. If in doubt, just press enter, and if that doesn't work, type live video equals OF only. This is Yaboot, which is a very funny name for something. Xennial Xeris, built on 2016-07-19. Default option is live. We'll just press enter. I know this will at least boot up on this system because I've done this before. What I don't know is whether or not this is going to install over FireWire. And I also don't know if my putting it on G4 but installing to a G3 is going to be a problem. Alright, we got a white screen. Booting Linux via _start. Alright. Quiescing open firmware. I think it should probably have done something by now. There it goes. And it's reading the disc, the CD, the DVD. I wonder if I could actually source. There's a blue, bright blue screen. It's not quite as blue, or the same color blue, even though it looks like that way on the camera. It's not the same color blue as target disc mode. So, I can zoom. Wow, that's aggressive zoom. I think my quality is starting to suffer a little bit, so yeah, I don't really know how I feel about using these Android devices to do a live stream. It doesn't seem to work too well. But at this point, it's too late. I'm already 8 minutes into it, so no point in going back now. Most of this is probably going to be spent booting it up. I don't think this is really going to take any more than maybe 30, 40 minutes. But you know how it goes with Linux. It'll always take longer because there will always be some snag in the process somewhere. Such as maybe the fact that it's not going to start. It is reading from the disk. So maybe it'll come up here in a second. And I'll be very interested to know if it detects a boot device. Considering I pulled the hard drives off of the board. They're still plugged in. But I pulled it off the board, so there shouldn't be any hard... Still in awe that it tried to boot to something which didn't exist. And of course failed, because it can't boot to something that doesn't exist. I wonder, can I see what's going on? Alright. Failed to change mode of Etsy password. Now it's mounting stuff. Deb CD-ROM. Repeat this process for the rest of the CDs in your set. What CDs in my set? I've only got one of them. It's very slowly loading things off of the DVD. I suppose USB would have been faster, but I don't even know. Can you boot? Oh, I want to zoom out, please. Whoa, okay, that's not legal. I wonder if you could boot a Power Macintosh G4 to USB. Maybe somebody who is more well-versed in this Apple equipment actually knows that answer. It's been a long time since I've really, done much with Apple equipment. I do at least have the Apple keyboard and mouse out, although they're hooked up to this. I wonder how crappy the quality looks now. I'm using, for those that are just tuning in now, I'm using the Samsung Galaxy S6 to do this. I don't think I'm doing it next week because it looks great. Everything all looks just fine quality-wise on the display, but on the actual video it looks kind of pixelated. Lo-fi, like 240p or something. I think the GUI is starting to come up. I don't care about any of the data that's on the iMac G3. There really shouldn't be anything anyway. I'll have a look. Assuming Linux will understand it. If there are any files. What will I do about that? If there are files, what can I do about that? I wonder if this has a RAM disk, if I could take the files, put them on the desktop. Because I only have 2 USB ports on the system. And both of them are being taken up right now. Maybe I'll get myself a USB stick. Just any USB stick. And I'll pull out the keyboard. And if there's data, I'll pull out the keyboard and plug in the USB stick. And see if all of that will work. Ubuntu Mate Edition. Yeah, I love the Mate desktop. I have 3 viewers, but so far nobody has said anything in the chat room. So, I don't know if they're all just lurkers or what they're doing. I have some dots in the upper corner of the screen, and looks like it's wildly off the screen for some reason. There we go. So let's see. This is not fast. Places. Does it understand target disk mode? That's the other question that I have to ask, is does this understand? Oh, I said I had 3 viewers and most of them just disappeared, so. Oh, I sure know how to scare them away, I'll tell you what. 1631. Thursday, February 11th. Yeah, I don't think so. Not fast. I think most of this video is going to be spent waiting for this thing to load stuff. That's one of the problems with this, trying to run contemporary software on hardware like this, is because it's a completely different architecture than x86. So all this stuff that's been optimized for x86 is not optimized for this. So it is slow. Okay, Ubuntu Mate's home. I'm curious. Let me go into disks and see if it actually sees the drive at all. Because that'll tell me whether or not I can do this. Let's see, disks. Should show up, assuming that it has FireWire. That's not good, it's not showing up. That's weird. I have a welcome screen. That is fairly strange. I'm not pulling apart the iMac to get to that hard drive. So, that's not happening. Maybe what I'm going to do, I'll skip this stupid welcome crap, go away. I already know how to use it. So target disk mode is not going to work because it is not seeing it. So not much I can do about that. It is plugged in as far as I know. Oh, it's unplugged. Oh man, wow, what a moron that just made me look like. Okay, well let's plug that back in. Figure out which way it's supposed to go. Plug it back in. I just heard a ping out of something. And there it is, 15 gigabyte hard disk. Wow, what a moron. Rule of thumb, go away, I want to close it. Oh, the close button's over there. Okay. Rule of thumb. Always double check and make sure that everything is set up the way that you want it to be. Okay. So now that I've got this here, it's set up like Linux. You can probably tell. Those of you that know how Linux is set up, it's pretty similar. So I want to see if there's any data on this before I erase the whole thing and all of that mess. Let's go in here if we can. Which it looks like we can't. It's going to tell me I don't have access, I bet. You do not have the permissions necessary to view the contents. Yeah. Okay, well, watch this. How do we get permissions? Actually, I don't think I can do that. Let's go back out and see if I can open as administrator. Starting administrative tasks. Now people are chatting in the chat room. Look at that. Wow. How bad does it look? I'm curious. It looks pretty bad on my end. Oh, let's see. Let me see if I can zoom without the whole thing going to pot here. That's what's on the desktop. Can you read it? I don't know. Let me try and go back to see if I can. Nope, it says telling me I'm already at where the live is. Yeah, you can see it. Alright. That's on the desktop. Can anybody guess what that is? I'm sure there'll be somebody. Oh man, the zoom on this is dreadful. So, okay, I don't need that. I'm curious about documents, pictures, and all that other mess. So we'll see. And then, at that point, I'm going to clean it. Untitled.mov. What is that? Actually, I think that's a screen capture, and that didn't work too well, so I'm not going to bother. I installed screen capture software. The screen capture software actually seems to crash the system, so we'll open that as administrator, and we'll open up pictures as administrator. If it will let me. Let me fix that camera. At least somebody knows what it is. Okay, pictures. iChat.icons, that's worthless. And music has iTunes. Do I have anything in my iTunes library? I don't think so. iTunes music. Compilations. Oh, yeah, I've got that CD, so who cares? Alright, so there's nothing on it that I care about. And as such, we'll close that out. And we'll go to install. And hope that it will actually work. Okay, what's it doing? Did I crash it? Just right-clicked on it. Click on open. It's not doing anything. Actually not doing anything. Okay. Are you gonna... Well, there was some little bit of access. There's some access. Wow, it took it that long to figure out that I wanted to do something. It's still not quite working. Is it going to come up at some point between now and the next century? That's awful. Hopefully it'll be faster from the actual hard drive on the iMac G3. It might not be. It might actually be horrendously slow on that. Yeah, this is ridiculous. I don't know, I think I waited like 2 or 3 minutes for that to come up. Which might as well have been 2 or 3 centuries. Okay, let's get some zoom. If it's not going to go completely stupid on me. Alright. How many times is it going to open now? Continue. Selected English. I am, in theory, connected to the network. Although it says Ethernet network disconnected, so that's not a good sign. Maybe I'll edit the connections and I'll give it a manual IP address. Does it say that it's connected on my network switch? No, it doesn't. Seriously? Is it actually still plugged in? Or is that what I pulled out of the machine? Okay. Yeah, it got pulled out of the system when I did that. Okay. Now it should work. Now I wonder if it'll figure it out automatically that I've plugged in Ethernet. Claims to be connecting to a Wi-Fi network. I don't think so. I don't know if it's communicating or not. Fun times. Am I going to have to set a manual IP address anyway? Yeah, I think I'm going to have to set a manual IP address. So I'll do that. I'll just set a manual address. Click on Edit. It'll take 2 years for that to come up. Editing wired network connection. All right. IPv4. Let's give it a manual address. Automatic, manual. All right. Add address. Right, so there's an address, DNS servers. I don't know if that's how you do it. I'm going to click on save. I guess it was. So let's see. Did it figure out that I'm connected to a network? It's reading off the disk. Connection established. Alright. But yet the setup program does not seem to have caught on to that fact. So let's go back and we'll try it again. Select English. Continue. I hope I don't have to restart the whole setup program. Yeah, it looks like crap. Alright, so next week I'm not going to be using this Galaxy S6 for this because it looks terrible. Maybe I'll plug it in. That might be a good idea. It was plugged in. I guess it's not plugged in now. Maybe I unplugged it while I was fiddling about with the machine. This saves time after installation, but I can't select it. Okay. So that was a waste. Install third-party software. I can't select it. Okay, fine. If that's the game you want to play, fine. It's a game you're going to lose. Alright. So let's see. Is it going to enumerate disks next? I think that's the next step. There's only one disk it can install to. Assuming that it is able to install to a FireWire disk. It should be able to. If Linux can install to USB, there's no reason why it can't install to FireWire. Then again, we live in a world where the picture quality on your streaming device looks absolutely glorious, and yet the picture quality of the actual stream looks terrible. So, I don't know. But nobody has said anything about what are you talking about? The picture looks great. Showing up as 360p on my end, 720p is the maximum option, which is funny because this thing supports 1080p. Did the installer just completely lock up? Okay, the following disks have mounted partitions. Who cares? Do you want the installer to try and unmount? Sure. Shouldn't be mounted anyway. Well, it was mounted. I was looking at it. I didn't unmount it, but it doesn't need to be mounted, does it? Okay. So, how many more centuries is it going to take to bring up the actual disk partitioner? Remember what I said, that these kinds of things, they should take about 30 minutes, but they really don't. They take a lot longer than that. Yeah. This is another one of those things. Somebody outside has a fart can going. Sounds like complete shit. And there's a swear word. Oh well. I don't suppose it is a... Okay, erase disk and install Ubuntu Mate. I'm going to make sure that it's going to the right disk. I believe it is. I'm going to let it scan disks, because I was actually also curious, where's the boot stuff coming from when it tried to boot earlier on in the video? I don't know where that came from. It just decided it was going to start booting. Scanning disks. How long does it take to scan disks? This is so much faster on the PC. Which again, just evidence of more of that optimization problem. This is the most unoptimized crap ever. It's still scanning disks. Wow, this is like dreadful. Okay, it just said it stopped scanning disks. What the hell? Okay, there are 8 partitions that are of 0 megabytes in size. There's 134 megabytes of free space. Then 15 257 megabytes. What happened there? What is this? What happened? Okay, that is very strange. Let's go back. Since I know that this is the only disk that it sees, this should be the only disk that it's going to install to. So I'm going to go back. And it's probably going to take forever. What did it just do? Wow. The installer seems to have completely screwed up. Minimize it. Bring it back up. What did it just do? Okay, let's click go back again. Starting up partitioner, scanning disks, detecting file systems. Now it's in a loop. Look at that. Look at that mess. Obviously somebody did not do their homework with that, so I'm gonna have to quit now. And I'm gonna have to start it all over again because it's screwed up. Somebody really did not do their homework with the quality control on this. It's not quitting now either. There it goes. Try again. See how many years it takes for this to work. Just when you expect things there Everything looks like it's going so well. You've obviously overlooked something. Splendid quality control, folks. Throw that away. That's garbage. Oh, man. Okay, well, I have the hourglass at least. Suggests to me that maybe it could be doing something. Not very likely, though. I probably royally bricked it and I'm going to have to reboot the whole machine. Or something of the such. It'd be real nice if the quality wasn't pants, but there's not a whole lot I can do about that. You may wish to read the release notes. What if I don't feel like it? So I've closed the installer and reopened it. Can I download updates now? That's a question that I have. Or is it disabled because I've got the PowerPC version? Which is also a possibility. It may not allow you to download those because it can't figure out, or doesn't, there's no separation as to what is. Wow, it's really screwed itself up. This computer only has only 0 bytes. Well, there's a hard drive installed, so I don't know what you're talking about. That's terrible. Yeah, it's bricked itself. Royally bricked itself. Okay. Alright, let me reboot the Macintosh, I guess. The iMac. So that way it can figure out that there's something plugged in there. Where's the reboot switch? Quit out of that. Boot it back up into target disk mode. Did a cable get unplugged again? Shouldn't have. It might have. I doubt it. I don't know what this computer's doing. Let's go back into disks. See if it's showing up now. I think that Linux royally bricked it. What a surprise. Unbelievable. It's right there. Okay, whatever, I guess. Stupid thing. Get out of here. Let's try the install again. Maybe the third time's the charm, you know? I got a couple of concerned emails in recent times. Why didn't you upload a video today? Why didn't you upload a video today, you know? And the answer to that question is, well, I don't want to be uploading a video every day. Because I found that by uploading every day, the viewership on the videos has dropped. Oh, sure, because I've got all those uploads, it adds up to about the same number of views, but it's a lower number on each video. It's spread out a little bit more. I don't know. I want everybody to be able to see all the videos that I publish, so I don't want to be uploading too many videos. So I've gone through and rescheduled things such that I've tried to make it every 2 days at the very most. So there are probably some times where there's going to be a video, you know, that comes out a day after another video, just because I don't want to be. Because right now I'm scheduling things all the way into March, so that's a long time to wait for videos. So some things will probably come out a little bit sooner than that, and that's okay. But I don't want, you know, the just massive number of videos coming out that I've had already. So that's what's going on there. I got a laundry list of videos to not just to record, but that need to go public. It's probably going to tell me there's 0 bytes of space now, even though the drive is right there. This is probably not going to work in some creative way. Look at that, 35 minutes and we haven't even started the process at all. Doesn't really give me a lot of time. My iMac screen just went blank. I don't know if that's a bad thing or not. That might not be good. Because it didn't go blank before. Yeah, I think the iMac just locked up. Because I can't push caps lock. Wow. Can this go any less smoothly? Is it like royally bricked? I think the RAM in G3 is bad, to be honest with you. Okay, I've got 3. Wow, that's real quality assuring. I've got 3 icons for accessibility up there at the top. How does that happen? Let me try rebooting the iMac again. Where's the switch? I don't know. There's a switch. At least I still get the bong. Holding down T. My FireWire icon has reappeared. So let's see how the computer reacts. I don't think this is even going to get done. I don't think this is going to get done. So I think the whole machine has now stopped responding to me. I can contact it. I can talk to it. It just turned off. I'm not joking. It just turned itself off. No, I do not want to quit the installer. Turn it back on. T for target disk mode. Download updates while installing. I can actually select it now. Continue. I'm reasonably certain the memory in the iMac G3 is bad at this point, because that's the only explanation for this. Other than a possible power supply problem. Which it's never exhibited before, so... Although, then again, it hasn't sat for as long as it has before. Actually, I don't know. Is that true? It might not be. My disk disappeared from the desktop. I don't know if that's a good sign or not. Okay. This is the only option that it gives me. Oh, this is dreadful. Quality control, people. Quality control. Go back into disks and see if it's there. Nope, it's disappeared. What a surprise, huh? Reboot again. Where's the reboot switch? This should be a very simple process, and it's not. I don't know where the issue lies, if it's with Linux or if it's with this stupid iMac. This is why I put it in the closet in the first place, because it doesn't work properly. What a nuisance. Well, it's back. Wow, holy crap. Then it just turned off again. On, you stupid piece of garbage. I'm starting to get angry because this is ridiculous. There's no excuse for any of this mess. Shouldn't be constantly turning itself on and off. There's no excuse for it. Free space, 15 gigs. I don't think so. Try again. Run that by me again, please. Of course I have another one, but I'm not touching that, and that doesn't have FireWire target disk mode anyway, so I can't. Not for this, and I'm not wasting that, because that's my machine that I use to transfer. Yeah, it's not talking to it at all anymore. Plus the FireWire port on the back of this is bad, which it could be. I know it's hanging halfway off the drive. So let me pull the plug, and we'll see if it'll actually talk to it when I plug it back in. Alright, so it removed it. And now it's back. With all the partitions. Alright. So we'll click on change here, which will probably crash the whole installer because it doesn't know what it's doing. And now the system is out of target disk mode. Or it has in fact crashed. Again. This is a waste of time. Forget it. This is a total waste of time. Turn it off. Turn it back on. I'm going to make sure that this actually still boots. Which it does. So there's no issue there. Maybe we'll revisit it next week, because guess what? The heatsink I ordered 2 weeks ago for that Pentium build is still not showed up. Thanks, Canada Post. Actually, it's not their fault. It's the freaking union. It's got nothing to do with the workers, and it's got nothing to do with the actual company itself. It's always got everything to do with all the union politics that goes on. After having been through one of those myself, due to age, something failed. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. That wouldn't explain why I've got an NEC ready, which is about twice as old as this is. That still works just fine. I've got an HP Vectra that's probably about 1.5 times as old as this is. 2.5 times, I should say. More than twice as old, and it still works fine. Capacitors are an issue in iMac G3s, but as you can see, if the capacitors were a problem, this wouldn't be working right now. And yet it is. So, don't know. Alright. Very slow, wow. How much memory does this have installed in it? I smell laundry detergent all of a sudden. Well, like I said, if the power supply was bad, then it wouldn't even start up. And yet it does. So it's got nothing to do with that. But it isn't even bringing up my About This Macintosh screen. This thing is slower than I thought it was. Oh, there it is. Probably as a result of my running 10.4 on it, which is... The zoom on this thing is completely terrible. What time does it think it is? Oh, it actually thinks it's the correct time. Probably because I have NTP enabled. And if I go up here, it'll say it's November 23rd, 2018. Yep, set date and time automatically. Okay, so there is no I know that there's no battery in this. So what I'm going to do is we'll try it again from the outset. Try it again right from the beginning. Let's go back to the very start. Boot it to CD. We'll just boot it live. Because it worked. There's nothing wrong with that. I'll at least be able to get this started. Hopefully. I'm going to crush a box for something for the mouse on the computer. Yeah, that's not a good sign. Don't do that. Mouse crushing is not a good thing to do. What makes you think it's more hi-fi? It's got one speaker in it. The G3 has got two. And I come from a world where hi-fi automatically means stereo. No, it's just louder. If I turn up the volume on this thing, the speakers stop working. Never did figure out why that was. I think that's a software problem. Because if I remember, it didn't do that under OS 9, but it does that when I have OS 10 installed. But I just keep it as a rule of thumb to turn the volume down all the time, because I used to use this machine back when it was set up on a regular basis. I used to use this one at night. You know, when I was supposed to be in bed sleeping for school the next day, I'd be up using that thing. That was back when the internet actually worked on something like this. It won't do that anymore. The assertion has just been made that it's got a bigger speaker. Well, let's verify that. I have a ruler here. Let's go ahead and have a look. So iMac G3, here's the ruler. And we'll do it for the American folks. And it just turned off again. It's not getting hot. At least not any hotter than they usually do. So that speaker, about 2¼ inches across. A little bit less than 2¼ inches across. This thing over here is less than 2 inches across. Actually, just barely over 1½ inches across. So it's not a bigger speaker. Unless perhaps it's bigger this way than it is this way. Which I'm not verifying because I'm not pulling the cover off of this G3. Although if I remember right, this thing has the huge Harman Kardon speakers in it. Whereas that doesn't. I think my next step for diagnosis is going to be to pull the cover off of the system and take the RAM out. I don't have to pull the cover off. I can just remove the RAM door and take the RAM out, put it in the PC, test it in the PC, and see if the RAM's actually any good. Because I know that it's got crashing issues under except it covers the front grille. I know it's got crashing issues under 10.4, so there's one thing. It is still booting. Well, that's still booting. Maybe I should have just done myself a favor and installed Linux on this G4. I don't use either of these machines. But I thought this was going to go by smoothly. I guess not. Oh well, you can't have everything. I don't have a lot of time. I've got about 10 minutes. Less than 10 minutes to get this going. Couldn't have a better sound card. I don't know. Sound card is only as good as the speakers you put in front of it. Speakers you hook up to it. Because if you put speakers in front of a sound card, well, I guess if you put them in front of the computer, you'd be putting it in front of the sound card. Although I don't know, well, that would be true in the case of these things, wouldn't it? So, yeah, I'm looking way too far into it. You know what? I bet that as soon as I start installing, if I get that far, as soon as I start the installation process, the thing is going to shut off. Or it'll crash. But I think because it's crashing, that's pretty much an automatic guarantee that the RAM is bad. Because it shouldn't be crashing under target disk mode. That's weird. Of course, it wouldn't take like 2 billion years to get to the freaking desktop. And this wouldn't be as much of a problem. The iMac had better speakers than the iMac. I know that one. The iMac also had the flat CRT, which was real fun when that exploded. Do not ask how I know that. Maybe I'll tell the story one of these days. Other than to say I used to have one. Keyword being used to have one. It was a nice machine. I wish I still had it. You can't get them anymore because they're all gone, because they weren't worth anything. So now they are worth something because they're rare. Or at least I think they're rare. Maybe they're still not. I don't know. I don't know how many of them are still left. I'm sure somebody knows. Or point out in the comments, hey, you're a freaking idiot. This stuff's very common. They might be, but I haven't seen one in years. Not since I exited, not since I left elementary school. I haven't seen one. So let's see. What do we get on our desktop when it loads? Is my FireWire thing still bouncing around, or did it actually crash again? iMacs are heavy, yes. The reason why is because they have that flat glass, the flat CRT, which isn't done with the CRT, because you can't have a flat CRT. That's impossible. But it has all that glass in front of it to make it flat. Just like the Trinitron monitors that were flat. Yeah, I think this has crashed. Yep. That's exploded. Okay, so I think that's pretty much the death sentence for that. There's not really much else I can do for it at this point. Let's see if the desktop ever comes up. Maybe I'll reboot it and try it again. That seems to be a common theme here. Just restart it and try it again. Turn it off and turn it back on again. Yeah, it's not showing up, so that tells me that, yeah, it's crashed. Last time I'm going to try this. Disconnected. You are now offline. Ring. I'm sure that came out through the stream very nicely. I think my time is up because I'm pretty sure that means that Mr. Christmas 1 is live. That's why I got that email. So I don't know what to do at this point other than to test that RAM, make sure the RAM's good. Welcome! Welcome to failure. Every single time I try to do something like this. What a mess. Oh, I know what I could do. Actually, no. I need something I can run memtest on. What machine takes PC-133 in here? Do I have one handy? Not really. Fun times. Alright, so I don't have anything else that I can really do for you. It doesn't look like it's seeing it either. Because it should auto-mount it. And it's not auto-mounting. So I'll go back into disks. See if it actually sees it at all. No, it's not seeing it. Okay, well, that's it. I don't have anything else for you. If it's not going to work, it's not going to work. I can't. At this point, I can't persuade it any further to work. I'm just going to have to replace the RAM and go from there. Really, it's due for an upgrade anyway, because it's only got 768 megabytes. Probably need a little bit more than that. I'll probably bump it up to a gigabyte. Don't think I can bump it up any further than that. I don't think I've got any 1 gigabyte PC-133 memory modules. I don't even know if they made those, and if they did make them, they're probably buffered memory modules. And buffered memory isn't going to work. You can't even install that into a machine that uses non-buffered memory, because the keying is different. So, in fact, I think they might be a little bit bigger. Just not too much, but just enough that they won't fit in the socket. So, there you go. That's it. I don't have anything else at this point, so I'm going to just shut all this junk off and call it a night. Maybe I'll test the RAM tonight. Maybe I'll even make a video about that. I have another video to make. There were probably a couple of other things I was going to talk about, but I didn't even get to any of that. The fact that YouTube removed channel comments from my channel, and possibly other channels as well, is very irritating. I might make a video about that. A program is still running. Does it look like I care? Shut down anyway. It's probably trying to communicate over the FireWire bus. And failing because they can't talk to it. I don't know, did it crash again? I think it crashed again. Oh man, what a time. What a time to be alive. Well, I'll reboot it and I'll shut it down properly. Where's the reboot switch? Where's the restart switch? There it is. Oh, I need to eject that DVD. Hopefully it'll eject on its own. So there we go. We'll eject the DVD. It'll put up a whole bunch of errors to read blah and blah and blah, because apparently it can't handle that. And it's dead. I think he's dead, man. Where's the reset switch? Huh, what an ingrate. I take it out of the closet for the first time in a couple months, and this is how it treats me. Wow. Uh-oh. To continue booting, type Mac boot and press return. Oh, it's gone into open firmware. That's never a good sign. I think it's done. So maybe it does stand to reason. Let me look that up. Default cache code 300 at something, couple of addresses. Boot ROM built on 09-1401. So that gives us a rough indication. I might look that up. You know what? I'm going to look that up right now so I can tell you all what that is. Because I'm curious myself. iMac G3 boot code 300. I'm sure somebody, I don't actually know, I put in open firmware code 300, but maybe I'll put it in there and I'll get some results from people who don't know what they're talking about. This thing over here still hasn't managed to shut down. Maybe I'll have to forcefully shut it down. Boot? What? Okay, error code 300, blah, blah, blah. No card in slot. Try zapping PRAM. Tell CPU to install some card before blah. Blue and white G3. Okay, well, let's try booting it. Oh, I lost my keyboard. So yeah, I think that's toast. So that's enough of that. I can't even type on it. That's just how bad this thing is off. So I'll force it off. Failed to send watchdog equals 1 notification. Connection refused. Well, screw you too. Just turn it off. In fact, I'll just cut power to it like that. But now I'm even more curious. What happens if I bring power back and I try to turn it on again? But the fact that open firmware comes up is even worse. Oh, now it's booting. Okay, well. Yeah, I bet there's a RAM problem. It's trying to read some information into RAM, can't do it, and bleh, barfs all over the place. So, at least I can shut it down now, theoretically, if it doesn't crash while it's trying to load. Starting Mac OS. Here it comes. Alright. We'll have to let it start classic. Close out of this. That hard drive is completely silent. But that's it. At this point, I'm just finished things up. Chris is live now. You should go watch that. This was a failure. I'll have to change the RAM in the machine, make sure that the RAM is the problem, because it might not be. I know I shelved this thing for having personality. Like I said, what an ingrate. I pulled it out of the closet for the first time in however many months, and it treats me by not working. All the PCs I pulled out of the closet work fine, including the XT. I pulled that out earlier, and that started up fine. So, well, okay, would have started up fine if I had a keyboard plugged into it. But I don't have an XT keyboard that supports the XT scan codes. So I'm going to shut it off before it crashes again. And that'll be that. We'll at least shut it off properly. There you go.